guys. I'm got a lot of film cut. I'm going to be on the road, but I'm putting it all on my laptop. I'm going to start cutting it up and getting ready. I know we're zooming towards this Buffalo game. I'm going to be cutting up Tua's film after this and going through his day. So I want to focus on Tua. I'm seeing the Twitter battles and the talk going on about, well, it wasn't a really good day. What kind of day was it? But then I'm also hearing, wow, the offensive line was extraordinary. Jackson and Eichenberg are going to be all pro. And so I'm not here to tell you what to think. I just want to provide you with information so you could think for yourselves. But what I will say, though, is I think Tua had one of his best games ever. And the way he managed that game, and he had to manage it for a reason. And he had the early miss deep, but we watched the film on that. But he made things happen in key moments, started scrambling and opening up 2 or 3 of those runs changes things. To me, Tua did what he had to do. He managed the whole situation along with McDaniel with a particular framework to get this thing going. And when he had his opportunities, he struck. And I'm going to show you his production on the day, but I'm going to tie it into the offensive line and McDaniel's calling. You can't have a 3-way go on this one. You can't say that this offensive line is tremendous. McDaniel is totally competent and a genius, and Tua is an elite quarterback and get 20 points, 14 from your offense on touchdowns. It doesn't work like that. Now, you could say, whoa, it was just a rough week, but I'm going to show you clear stats. I mean, like fundamentally clear stuff. Not so much maybe to say the ultimate opinion's right, but you've got to question some things. And so that's going to be my goal today, is to say, when you uplift this offensive line above what it really is doing, you're saying McDaniel doesn't make any sense in his play calls. And then Tua, he's really not that good, because if it was that good, he should be doing better. So a simple thing to check how your offensive line is doing. Very, very, very simple. Very, very simple. Very basic. It's concrete. If you have one side of a spectrum, you'd want 5 wide receivers, a quarterback, and 5 guys blocking all day. That would be a perfect day. That your 5 guys can handle the pass rush, and you got 5 guys in routes to tax the secondary, and the quarterback is working. That would be the most perfect situation. On the other side, you'd have 1 guy in routes loaded with max protect and play action screens. So it's this spectrum of going this way and that way grades how well in context an offensive line is doing. A all-pro 5 super stud offensive lineman, they don't need lots of play actions. They don't need lots of screens. They don't need a lot of extra protection, and they get blitzed a ton. Okay? So these are cues for you to look. So let's take a quick look at some little graphics here. The Dolphins on their day had 9 true pass set blocks. Okay? So on the entire day of 44 dropbacks, 9 times, these guys were asked to block on their own. Most likely 5-man protection. Okay? Only 9. Now, if they're really that good and doing so good, I mean, we know that twice there was 2 sacks, but we won't get into that. Let's compare to some other teams in the league. Let's look at Baltimore, who struggled with their offensive line. They had true pass set blocks 30. So that's 4 times the amount of opportunities they were left on their own to do their job. True pass sets means you're not getting help from scheme, you're not getting help from play action, and you're not getting help from rollouts. Let's look at Buffalo. They had 15. Let's look at the Cowboys. They had 11. Let's look at the Lions, noted for a good offensive line, 13. Let's take a look at Jacksonville, who we played, 11. Kansas City, 17. Let's take a look at the Chargers, who invest heavy in their offensive line, 18. Let's take a look at Philadelphia, 22. Let's take a look at Tennessee. They had 23. So the offensive coordinator shows his trust in his protection, not what he says at the podium, by what he calls. So I was talking to a great guy, awesome guy on Twitter, disagreed. You call a screen, you snap the ball, and guys fake block and go one direction or to the other, horizontal. Now, that works great if you're getting blitzes in there. They get past you and you drop it over their head. But we were only blitzed 7 times on the day out of 44 dropbacks. And so they were playing over leverage, playing shell, and that's why these screens didn't have a great effect. We had the one big one with Achane. We had a touchdown in the end zone, but we saw last year that doesn't work that well all the time. It's not the best, most conducive environment. We got some stuff out of it. But if you look, Tua, he can look at the way he threw the football. Look at all the passes beyond the 10-yard mark. You had a total of 4, 5, 9 attempts beyond 10 yards. Does Tua have a noodle arm? Does Tua not have the ability to throw there? But all your other attempts, you had 8, 13 behind the line of scrimmage, and you had 10 within 10 yards. So either Tua is not capable of it, or there's something else. I think Tua and McDaniel understood they can get pressure with their 4 guys. Let's use our speed to the edge, get those screens out there, mitigate the pass rush. They blitzed a little and got in very, very quick. If you look at the pass rush, when they blitzed, his grade was 45 out of 100, and he was pressured 2 out of 7 times. And he had 2.13 time to throw. Now, some of that's the screens. But you look at the screen time to throw was 0.98 seconds. All right? That is insanely fast. His overall time on a day, he had 86.4 clean time to throw, which is nuts. 2.09. To me, Tua showed his ability to handle the situation, to be patient, wait for his opportunity. McDaniel rope-a-doped a little bit with those screens and all the play actions, and when the time was right to break it out and try to break that look or wait till you got the blitz, then you hit them. But Tua, if he was a super-duper quarterback with a super-duper offensive line that could block on their own and a super-duper OC, they wouldn't have this pass dispersion. The layout wouldn't look like this. Now, it's not to say these guys are terrible, but they were given the easiest job in the NFL. Okay? And when you look at the total package, out of 100% of their plays, they call pass rush mitigation plays 63% of the time. 36.4% play actions. We ran 30% last year. 27.3% screens. We ran 15% last year. We were blitzed out of 7 out of 44 dropbacks, and we had an average of 4.15 rushers per snap. Clean time to throw, 86%. Last year had 76, 10% more at 2.09, fastest in the league. There's a reason for this. Why would you call this when you have Waddle and Hill and Jonnu? You would just call your 5 wide. You'd have Jonnu do the post. You'd have Achane flaring out. And you'd have 2 route nice combinations with Waddle and Hill to get depth and to strike deep. Because your quarterback can sit there and wait. But we don't. And there's a reason for that. But we have so much skill talent. And Tua is ability to release and McDaniel's ability to scheme and the defense's ability to hold things in a manageable position till we can strike and hit gold is how this game was won. But, people say, oh, I'm sorry, Liam. He had a great game. He had an unbelievable game. And if you look at their PFF grades, they look good. Can't complain. But the thing is, you have to look deeper because there's no context. Liam Eichenberg had 9 reps of true pass set blocking. His grade was 34.7, and he gave up a sack. And so you have to understand, these guys' job is so easy, but it's only Tua that allows this to happen. There's nobody else, and you got to add Hill and Waddle. Hill and Waddle and Tua are like almost superhuman in their ability to uplift this framework. You go through the league and you'll see that the majority of the teams that called heavy pass protection and screens and play actions were all rookies or guys subpar. Only 2 notable quarterbacks, and both had kind of high, was Tua and Carr. Carr had 60% about, and Tua had 63%. Well, the difference is that New Orleans was blitzed 40% of the time, and Tua 13%. And so I want you to consider these things because Tua deserves the credit. And you can't have it all. So if you lift up the offensive line, then you're kind of lowering Tua's ability and McDaniel's ability. But if you really kind of view this offensive line where it is, then you have to raise the other boats. And McDaniel, he gets a lot of garbage, and it's not always perfect. Tua gets a lot of garbage, it's not always perfect. But they are doing magic with this. Ask yourself, who else in the league is calling like this? Of the top QBs, not one other top QB in the league. And a lot of them don't have the skill talent of Waddle and Hill and Jonnu. But they're calling it totally different. They're allowing their offensive linemen more true pass sets so they can put more guys in route for a reason. And so I want you to really consider this. Don't say that I'm right. But Tua is allowing this thing to run, unlike, I think, anybody else. And he's adding this scramble ability. There was the one where he broke out and Robert Jones had him. That would have been a first down. That's a big deal in what we're trying to do here. He had the other one where he scrambled up the middle and he got the first down. That's huge. Sharif on the live spoke about this and did a really good job of presenting how dangerous just a few runs to this with this kid is going to be. But this offensive line is getting looks for a certain reason. They're not getting blitzed. They're seeing dimes and nickels, and they're playing over coverage. Yes, they ran the ball at the end of the game against a smaller Jacksonville front that was frying, that had like 7 minutes time of possession differential. And you can't dismiss it, but it wasn't there in the first half. Why was it in the second half? Well, maybe it's the heat. Maybe it's not. We'll see this week against the Bills. It will go a long way to proving what is what. But you have to understand the OC, he's calling plays for a reason. He's calling protection help for a reason. He's not calling these things to keep guys out of routes because he thinks that that's better for the pass attack. It's to offset something. It's maybe to attack a certain area in some ways, but if they're not blitzing, that really eliminates that one. So, guys, Tua is a good quarterback, and I think that he needs to get the focus of handling this unit and uplifting it. Tehran's doing a good job. Brewer had a semi-decent day, but Jackson even had some good points. The job is made very easy because of the time of throw and because the pass rush mitigation calls. And it's only happening because of Hill, Waddle, Tua, and McDaniel's brain. So I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to get more stuff to you. I want to talk about Holland. What a great, I think he should have got. I think Holland should have got the football at the end of the game ball. Unbelievable game. Got to sign this guy. And I'm going to get the film to you so you can take what I'm saying here and look at the film. Okay? And, you know, if you don't disagree, that's fine. I'm just trying to present my findings, and you could do what you want. That's what it's all about, free thinking. Kurt is saying, thanks for stopping by. Be well. Go Fins. Kurt's out. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.